Now let's turn back to the surgeon strangles wife trial for Dr. Ingolf Tuerk. The former urologist is accused of strangling his wife Kathleen to death at their home back in 2020 and then dumping her body in a nearby pond. On the stand still is a neighbor who had a flirtatious relationship with the victim. On cross-examination by the defense, he had received a text from the defendant in this case on the morning of that murder. Let's go back in for more.
Yes.
That was about it. It was on your phone. Where were any other texts on your phone? Were they? Between you and Katie?
I don't recall what I did.
Do you remember taking your phone and deleting the texts? Hundreds of texts between you and Ms. McLean before you gave your phone to the police?
No, I don't.
Do you remember deleting the text from you and Ms. McLean?
No, I don't remember.
Do you remember deleting photographs or videos or FaceTime chats or anything like that?
No, I don't recall.
You knew that in 2020 that they got married in the Elvis Chapel in Las Vegas, right?
I guess they did it there, yes.
Yes, they did. Do you remember her texting you that they got married?
No, I don't recall getting a text.
Remember her texting you and you going with the exclamation points, congratulations, and going back and forth with texts about being married, don't tell anybody, things of that nature? She's saying that to you?
No, I don't recall that, but
okay.
if you have it on paper, then I guess it is.
Well, we'll see. Would you agree with me, sir, that you knew in your conversations with Harry, when you guys would maybe be sitting out by the pool having a cigar, he had a cigar, a drink or whatever, he confided in you that he made a huge mistake about getting married, didn't he?
He said that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
But you knew that he was going to see a lawyer for a divorce, right?
I mean, this was so long ago.
Your Honor, could the witness answer be allowed to?
I don't really remember conversations.
Hang on, sir. Go ahead.
May the witness be allowed to finish his answers?
Yes, just let him finish his answer. Mr. Reddington, please.
Of course.
All right.
Finish your answer. It's been long ago.
I don't even know where we're at.
All right, why don't you ask the question again, Mr. Reddington?
Back in June of 2019, sir, do you recall, well, let me back up. Can you describe for us what your understanding was of your relationship with Kathleen McClean in 2019?
Just a friend.
And you knew that she had moved in with her 3 children to Harry's house about a year and a half before that, right?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
And you knew that they were not married, but they were obviously living together, right?
Yes.
And you knew in your conversations with Harry that was, she's living in his house as a living girlfriend, right?
I guess so, yes.
You guess so. Did you ever tell Harry that, for example, you would talk to her about getting laid doggy style?
Objection.
Sustained.
I don't recall that conversation.
Sustained. You don't have to answer that, sir. Just wait for the objection, please.
Taking, for example, the number ending in 9407, that's Katie, correct?
That's what?
That's Katie's number, correct?
Yes.
We just went through that. And your number, sir, we went through, ends with the 4714, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, just like the DA, I'm going to approach you with...
Mr. Reddington, can you show Ms. Beatty, please?
I thought I sent it to you.
No,
This is
I said the date.
page 24. I'm sorry?
I said the date, June 19th.
But there's a text message.
All right. Well, they're working on that. We're going to go ahead and squeeze in a break. And this is what cross-examination is about, trying to destroy his credibility and indicate he had this relationship with the victim and therefore perhaps has something against the defendant. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You got 9 months of testimony, right? 4.5 hours, you come back and say, we got a verdict.
Not guilty of the crime of murder.
All day is innocent.
they're going to blame all this on you.
In this case, the jury was sequestered for 9 months.
Oh, my God.
These people were too beat down to even try to fight for their own conviction.
Trial and Error. Why did O.J. win? A Court TV original series. Season finale Sunday night, 8 Eastern and Pacific. Only on Court TV.
Back to the trial against Ingolf Tuerk in Massachusetts. Prosecutors say that Tuerk strangled his wife, Katie, and then dumped her body into a pond. But the defense argues that Katie died during a drunken fight over their relationship. Let's get you back into court now. The defense is still cross-examining a neighbor who had a flirtatious relationship with the victim, and the defense attorney is trying to discredit him.
Mr. Pfannenstiehl, would you agree with me that on June 21st, for example, of 2019, you had text conversations with Katie McLean describing in detail to you sexual acts that she performed with her, then the guy she was living with that was your friend?
I guess they did. I mean, I don't recall it, but I mean,
well,
they were.
Let me approach you.
If you could just finish.
Okay. Go ahead, finish.
I mean, they joked about it often.
You joked about it?
Yeah.
Was Harry involved in the conversations with Kate McLean describing sex acts to you?
I don't recall. I don't
recall having communication with her about their sex life, describing acts in detail, but Harry had nothing to do with it. It wasn't on the text. Right?
I don't know.
We're approaching with over identification. Excuse me. Can I ask you if you recognize this, sir?
Can you read it to yourself, sir, please?
Next page. The green balloon would be yours. You recognize that?
I guess so, yeah.
Yes, so. Does that refresh your memory, sir, as to what communication was on that day?
Yeah, I mean, she explained what they did.
What?
She explained what they did.
And that was to you. And Harry wasn't part of that conversation.
No.
I've offered this, Your Honor.
Objection.
Sustained.
For the record, then, I'd like to offer this to as part of the identification.
Okay, it is. It's O for identification.
All right. Do you recall that you would have conversations, text conversations with Ms. McClean about Donna? Donna was your girlfriend, right?
We were broken up at that time.
What time?
We were, I'm not sure exact time, but it was, I think the time frame, I think it was around that time.
Well, I'm just asking you around what time?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember.
Say 2000?
We were on and off. We were on and off for...
All right. Do you recall that Ms. McClean would ask you about the status of your relationship with Donna, whether or not you guys were an item in talking?
I think she did, yes.
Yeah. And do you recall describing to Ms. McClean that you really didn't have much of a relationship with Donna, right?
That I what?
Didn't have much of a relationship with Donna.
Oh, then we must have been off then.
Do you recall that on one occasion she indicated to you, sir, in your text messages, anything about $9407 blue would be Curt, 4714 green would be you, correct?
Okay.
Could I see that, Mr. Farrington, please?
Excuse me. Pardon me, I gotta show that to you. If you pull them up, I can tell you what.
Do you want page number?
Sure.
Okay. It's 45.
take a look at that and tell us on the bottom of the balloons of whatever, what time frame we're talking about here.
6/21/19.
Okay. And I want you to read that to yourself. And does that refresh your memory about her communicating to you that she wanted to
Said, I don't know. Then I said,
What is that?
I don't know why, but no, you're not.
Okay, you're going to have to keep your voice up and make sure the jurors can hear you, especially.
Oh. I said.
Just objection, just as to whether it refreshes his memory or not.
So ask him again if it refreshes his memory, Mr.
I'll ask you
Whittington.
again. Does that refresh your memory, sir?
Well, I mean, reading it, I guess it does, but I don't remember the conversation, just what I see now.
Okay, so your memory, by looking at that document, is not refreshed, but you do agree that that document shows text communication between her phone and your phone, right?
Yep.
Yes?
Yep, it shows me that.
So you're not as refreshing recollection, but he's obviously adopted the document that offered.
Objection.
Sustained.
So.
No, mark it for ID. You can mark it for ID.
Sir?
You can mark it for identification.
There'll be P for identification.
Thank you. Do you remember in the end of June, June 28th to be specific, page 60, on your phone, 4714 and 9407 between Ms. McLean and yourself, that she was asking you about whether or not you were with Donna. You indicated that Donna was leaving for Vermont, things of that nature, and then you inquired as to whether you were invited over.
Inquires if I was invited over?
Yeah. The middle balloon.
Page, please.
I gave it to page 60.
Are you asking if that refreshes his recollection?
Yep, that refreshing
Okay, so
recollection.
read it to yourself, please.
So, does that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Okay. And then your recollection refresh would be what? You asked her what?
Objection.
What?
Objection.
Okay, overruled. He may answer it. He may answer it. Just ask it again, Mr. Reddington, please.
Does that refresh your memory as to what you indicated to her, what you said to her?
When I was coming over?
Yeah. Okay, when are you inviting me over?
Yeah.
Okay. Your Honor, just so I can understand, are these always going to be excluded after you just said?
That, if you want to mark that for ID, you may.
Okay.
That will be Q for identification.
Q?
Yes, sir.
So that would refresh your memory as to the fact that there was a conversation at the end of June 2019. And again, Harry wasn't part of that conversation, was he?
He was not in the text.
Well. And you knew that in page 73. And I think I can get the plastic sleeves, but, well, if they're in ID, it doesn't matter. Do you recall, sir, at the very end of June 2019, having a text conversation with Ms. McClean, again at the end of June 2019, wherein she described in graphic detail 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, she jokingly said things to us. She would just say things in front of us, I guess.
In front of us? Okay, who's us?
I mean, friends.
Friends?
Yeah.
What friends? There's a text between you and her, right?
Well, okay.
That's your phone and her phone, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have friends involved in that text thread, right?
No.
And you certainly weren't sitting with friends with Katie and making a joke about what.
All right, let's bring in trial attorney Marjorie Mesidor, still with us. Marjorie, how effective do you think this is? I mean, it's embarrassing to have to listen to these text messages. Do you think that this is helping discredit this witness?
I think that it is helping discredit this witness. However, what I'm concerned about is what is actually in evidence. He tried to get the document into evidence, and he was unable to do so because it did not refresh the witness's recollection, right? And as a result, it's only marked for identification. So you have his questions and the witness's I don't know. So the record, it really doesn't have much in there. So it looks bad, it feels uncomfortable. The jurors will say, whoa, we're really drawing some attention to this here. It may even vilify this witness for the purposes of, their defense and saying that somehow that there was some, heat of passion sort of argument that happened here. But what's actually in evidence, I think that it's going to be very scant.
And it may be disparaging to the victim. The victim's writing some of these things in the text messages. Marjorie Mesidor, thank you so much for joining us this hour. Always appreciate you. Coming up next, more from the surgeon strangles wife murder trial for Dr. Harry Tuerk. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Happy Friday and welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm your host for this hour, Matt Johnson. Thanks for being with us. We are tracking two major live trials this afternoon right here on Court TV. In Michigan, mother of five Linda Sturmer is on trial for a second time in the death of her husband, Todd. Prosecutors say that Sturmer drugged, beat, and then set him on fire, all before running him over with the family van. And in Massachusetts, the acclaimed robotic surgeon is accused of strangling his wife, Katie McLean, and then dumping her body at a nearby pond. Police say Dr. Harry Tuerk confessed to the murder, but claims that McClean struck him first. Let's get you back into that courtroom now, where the jury is hearing from a neighbor who had a flirtatious relationship with the victim.
Is there a question?
Yeah, I asked him a question. He was reading this.
I'm sorry, I'm not following.
Yeah, I see that it's on there, yeah.
Okay. And what does that refresh your memory to that she said to you?
Objection.
Okay, ask again. Does that refresh your recollection as to that text conversation, sir?
Yes.
Okay, now ask the next question.
Okay. And what is your recollection now refreshed, sir?
Objection.
Overall.
What she said.
Okay, so what does your recollection refresh say that she said?
I literally just spent 3 hours.
You have to slow down, make sure the jurors can hear you, sir.
He loves me and not
I'm
to.
sorry, what was that? The last thing you just said?
Telling me he loves me and not to leave. This is like a soap opera.
Okay. And, do I do yours?
Yes.
Do you recall, in the middle of July, well, July 10th, specifically, page 105, do you recall a text where you texted her at 4:30 in the afternoon and asked her to call you, and she said, yes, let me go outside. Do you remember that?
I don't remember it specifically, no.
Okay, so if it was like it wasn't late at night or anything. If Harry was home in the house and you called her, there were occasions that she would say, let me go outside to talk to you, right?
No, I don't recall if Harry was home or not.
Okay, but you recall that there were occasions when he would say, can you call me? And she'd say, yeah, let me go outside. Out of the house, right?
I guess so, yes.
Hopefully, make sure you don't guess. Page. Your balloon.
Okay.
Does that refresh your memory, sir?
Yeah, that we had that conversation, yeah.
She wanted to go outside before she talked to you, right?
Right. Right.
Okay. Black for ID.
The S for identification.
And then on July 13th, 2019, sir, you called. This is around 7 o'clock at night. You said, are you alone? And you wanted to know, where is Harry? Do you remember that conversation?
Not towards what it was about, I have no idea.
Okay. Did you want to go over and hang out with Harry?
All the time I went there, I wanted to hang out with both.
Why didn't you call him? You guys are bros, you know?
We weren't bros.
No?
But a lot of time I talked to her because of the Reiki session, and she also has a kid.
The what? The Reiki session?
Yeah.
No, we did that once.
Yeah, but it was really important to me because it was my mother that died when I was 22.
Objection as to form.
Sustained.
I'm telling you why I called hers, because I wanted to talk
about it. You need to wait for the objection. It's sustained. Rephrase the question, please.
When was the Reiki session?
I don't remember when it was. It was before.
I suggest to you, sir, that out of the hundreds of text messages between 2019 and 2020, you didn't talk once to her about Reiki on a text. What are you telling this jury? What about Reiki?
What am I telling what?
You just said to me it was about Reiki sessions.
No, I said that I talked to her about Reiki sessions.
Yeah, okay. In text?
No, by phone.
Oh, by phone. Okay, well, let's stay with the texts. She would tell you on a number of occasions that she was either drunk or wasted or trashed, were the expressions. Is that correct?
Objection.
Sustained. Next question.
Do you recall on July 20th of 2019, she indicated that she was drunk and you wanted to know if she was going to still be awake?
Objection.
Overruled. That may stand. You can answer that, sir.
I'm sorry, Lisa, that would be page 145.
Okay.
Okay. Does that refresh your memory, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah? As to what?
That I asked that.
Okay, so she's told you on a text that she was literally drunk, right?
Yeah.
And your response was, oh, good, you're going to still be awake, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Were you going to talk about Reiki if she was still awake?
Maybe, yeah.
Well, how about Harry? Did you call him or say, hey, I'm coming over to talk about Reiki with your drunk?
Well, I'm sure that she would tell him that I was going to come over and talk to her about Reiki.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
T for identification.
Did you ever, to your knowledge, sir, have occasion to reach out to Harry's then girlfriend close to the August marriage date?
About the what?
Ask her, do you recall reaching out to her at the end of July, close to the alleged marriage date? You knew that they were serious, right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall at that time frame, sir, reaching out to her and asking her what she was wearing?
Oh, for the wedding?
No, what she was wearing. Because she said that she was down in the beach.
No.
No?
I don't recall.
Okay.
That's what she was wearing.
Do you recall you randomly reached out to her and said, what are you wearing? And she said, bikini. I'm sorry, that's on page 175.
Okay.
Okay. Let me flip the page. Does that refresh your memory as to the conversation further that you wanted to look at it?
Yeah.
Did that have anything to do with Reiki?
No.
Did you know that Harry was there? Or Harry was aware that you wanted to look at his wife or his girlfriend?
No, he was, yeah, I knew he was right there.
Okay. So was he aware, to your knowledge, you wanted to know what he was wearing?
I have no idea.
Objection.
Wait, sustained.
You for identification.
And then on August 12th, sir, of 2019, and I'll ask you again, do you recall her calling or texting you and complaining that he had canceled the wedding?
They canceled it more than once, if I remember.
So I
don't know that date, but
I'm asking you, sir, if you recall.
I guess that was one of them, yeah.
Right. Do you recall or indicating, sir, refresh your memory, page 179 and 180. On vacation, she was on the beach. You remember that conversation, and she told you about the wedding.
She said she found out that he canceled the Justice of the Peace.
Keep your voice up, sir.
She said just found out that he canceled the Justice of the Peace again.
Okay.
And I said, oh no. Your job is to remind me of this.
Your job is to remind me of this. Okay, and then what else, sir?
I said, okay. I can't believe I'm sitting here on the beach and was just told he canceled the Justice of the Peace he booked.
And did you, to your knowledge, sir, chat with her further about him canceling the wedding, Justice of the Peace, and things of that nature?
No, I don't.
I mean, was that your business?
Say again?
Was that your business?
No, but she was telling me, I guess.
Right.
That would be V for identification.
Thank you.
V for
B, thank you.
Actually, do you recall that it was your fire department reverend that was the Justice of the Peace?
Do I recall that?
Yeah.
No, I did not know that.
Is your fire department reverend a Justice of the Peace?
I don't know.
You don't know? Page 182.
Objection relevance.
All right, sustained. Sustained. That can be marked for ID if you want.
W for identification.
Now, sir, as time goes on, do you have any memory, sir, as to how many times that she, during that period of time, would ask you if you want to get drunk with her?
No, I don't recall.
There were times, though, right?
What?
There were times that she would ask you, come over, let's get drunk, things of that nature.
I don't recall that.
How about her sending you pictures of a sundress that she said was short? You remember that?
Yeah, it was. I think it was a wedding dress or something cut up.
Cut up the wedding dress.
Something like that.
And she said that it was what, if you recall?
I don't know.
Do you remember asking her about, because she said it was short, and you asked her how short, right?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I don't know why.
You don't know why, okay. And she showed you a picture of it, right?
I think she did, yes.
And then you then said, looks nice, do you recall?
Yeah.
And as time went by, do you recall on August 25 of 2019, having a text about her being angry with him? I'm sorry, it's 2:58.
What's the date, Mr. Reddington?
August 25, 2019.
Objection. Just the form of the question. There's no statement that.
I'll rephrase the question. I'm going to show you your balloons and her balloons, August 25 of 19. Ask if that refreshes your memory as to her state of mind and her confiding in you.
Objection.
Overruled. You may answer it. Does that refresh your recollection as to a text conversation?
Yes.
I think we better approach, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll approach. If you want to stand, by all means.
All right, well, they take that sidebar. It's a good time for us to fit in a break, but let us know what you think about this cross-examination. Hit us up on social media. Coming up, more testimony out of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in the murder trial for Dr. Harry Tuerk. This is Court TV, the front row seat to justice.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, the connection between Karen Reed and a controversial blogger. What we learned from today's hearing as her murder retrial moves closer.
Closing Arguments tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
Set on fire and run over. Did Linda Sturmer kill her husband in the most horrific way? Previewing each day in the battered and burned murder trial.
Opening statements with Julie Grant. Mornings at 8/7 Central on Court TV.
Let's head back now to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for more in the murder trial of Dr. Harry Tuerk. He's accused of fatally strangling his wife, Katie McLean, after a drunken night at their home back in 2020. This surgeon claims that they were having marital problems at the time and that his wife attacked him first. On the stand is a neighbor talking about a very flirtatious relationship with the victim. Let's get you back to court.
We're approaching you with the marked X for identification. And you read this to yourself, correct? You read this to yourself?
Yes.
Okay. And listen to my question. She's confiding in you or telling you that she didn't care that she caught him lying about contacting that ex sucks, is what she told me, right?
Yes.
Okay. The end of August 25 of 2019, do you recall text messages between the two of you where she was running away, going wild and having fun, getting drunk, and you wanted to find out what that meant, and then she sent you a picture of herself in a bathing suit. Any memory of that at all? Page 286. All right. Take a look at that yourself. Okay, that refresh your memory?
Yep.
You recall that in the course of that text message that she sent you a photograph of herself in a bathing suit?
Yes.
Okay. Was Harry involved in that conversation?
Not on that text.
Was he there when she was texting you?
Say again?
Was she there when she was texting you?
Was he there?
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess.
In other words, did you know, or to your knowledge, in your discussions with texting with Katie McLean, that her live-in boyfriend, when she's living with him, was there while you were texting, and she's sending you pictures of herself in the bikini? And
I don't know if he was there or saw it. I have no idea.
did you ever talk to Harry about, hey, she's looking pretty good. I've seen some pictures of her in a bikini or in the short skirt?
No.
Identification.
Thank you.
Would you agree, sir, that at the end of September in 2019, you had met up with her? This would be page 323. And she conveyed to you the fact that she was so effing trashed, she doesn't remember. Well, that's it.
No.
Objection.
Sustained. Sustained.
Well, I'd like to have that marked for identification. And obviously, Your Honor, I have a standing objection to the rule.
Okay,
right?
marked for ID.
Thank you.
Z for identification.
Do you recall that when the two of you were together at that time, that she was concerned that she, while drunk, said something to you about cheating? Do you remember that conversation?
What time?
3:30.
No, what date, Mr. Redding?
26, 2019.
I'm sorry, 9/26?
Yes, 2019.
What was your question again? I'm sorry.
Okay, do you recall that you were with her and she was drunk and told you that she was so effing trashed, and then explained further about asking you whether or not she said anything about cheating while drunk?
I see that text, but I don't know what it refers to.
You see the text, but you don't know what it refers to. Would you agree, sir, that she basically indicated that she was with you? Yes?
No, I don't think she was with me. We were texting.
Okay. She's talking about something that happened like the previous day, that she was so trash she doesn't remember it, and asked you if I said anything about cheating.
Objection as to form.
Okay, overruled. He may answer it.
You remember that? Does that refresh your memory?
No, I don't recall that situation.
Okay. And then you responded to the text about the cheating, I know, and then you indicated, does he know where you were?
I know, but I don't think it was with me.
So your memory is refreshed. You're texting with her about being with her that she was so trashed, and asks you whether she said anything about cheating, and then indicates that. And you then respond, does he know where you were? Right?
Yeah, but I don't recall the situation.
Do you remember where you were? You must have a memory of if you guys were in a car or at a party or somewhere.
I don't recall.
One second. Sustain. Next question.
And is that 8A for identification?
Would you?
Double A.
Yes.
Do you recall the end of September 29th, 2019, that she called you and asked if you can talk? You said by phone, and she indicated Harry's leaving in 20 minutes. Does that refresh your memory at all, sir?
No, I mean, it's on there. I don't know what it was referred to.
September 29th, sir, of 2019. Do you recall, after she inquired as to whether you could, this is 364, whether you could talk, and you indicated by phone, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay. And she then went to describe
Objection. May we approach?
Yes.
All right, while they take that sidebar, this is a good time to welcome in my guest for this hour. We have joining us trial attorney Robert Hilla. Nice to see you on this Friday. Thanks for being with us. What do you make of the defense strategy right here with this line of questioning? They're really going into detail of this emotional text message, whatever you want to call it, affair with the victim.
Well, yeah, there's two things they're doing here. They're going after the witness, of course, and they're also eliciting some things that may be helpful to the theory. The whole case is about intent. Was there premeditation, which is the most serious? Was there intent to kill, which is the second most serious? And was there intent to hurt, regardless of if it caused death? But the conduct was so reckless. So you have, you know, the relationship cross-examination to develop the bias that the witness may have to testify against the defendant. But also you have the issues about bringing out that this victim was not a very perhaps likable person, and starts to create sympathy for the defendant, which are issues that help the defense in this case. Now you can overdo that because the jury can start to say, well, now we can understand why he wanted to kill his wife, and start focusing on that, you know, he planned to do that. Or what's more likely, I think, from what you're hearing here, they're going to understand that this history supports perhaps, you know, rage, and rather than premeditation.
The other thing that I want to talk about with you, Robert, is the fact that just how awkward it is for an everyday person to be trapped up in a case like this, and how closely he has to sit and read these text messages, salacious and uncomfortable, to that jury. So I've been in this particular this courtroom many times. It's the Karen Reed courthouse, right? So the witness is seated in the middle of where the jury is seated. You can see the other glass next to those doors behind him. That's how close this jury is seated to him, or when the defense attorney approaches him to show him text messages, you can't get any closer. They can hold hands. So what does that do for the dynamic and the mood in the courtroom, in your opinion, Robert?
Well, definitely it makes it more stressful for the witness. But jurors tend to really relate to the witness ordinarily rather than the lawyer in cases. However, I think, you know, in this case, the defendant, the cross-examination has really sort of dispelled. He was talking about this reference before to rec or whatever it was. And I think he's done a good job that never entered into any of the relationship communications between this witness and the deceased. So, I think the jury is going to recognize he's uncomfortable. The jury's going to recognize he doesn't want to talk about this stuff. But the jury's going to focus on, well, what does this all mean in terms of what we have to do to decide the level of intent when this defendant acted in the way he did.